Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. The man who rules the world breaks in a brand new partner to help him take care of business in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Taking Care of Business at paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Major League Baseball has decided to move its 2021 All-Star Game from Atlanta all the way to Colorado. And the reason for Major League Baseball moving its All-Star Game from Atlanta to Colorado varies based on which outlets you listen to. Now, according to some outlets, the reason Major League Baseball is moving the All-Star Game from Atlanta to Colorado is because many in Major League Baseball are protesting Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, and the legislator signing a brand new voting rights law, which they allege restricts the voting rights of Black Americans and others. And according to other reports, the reason why the All-Star Game is moving from Atlanta to Colorado is because social justice activists like Georgia's Stacey Abrams, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and LeBron James threatened to boycott the All-Star Game being in Atlanta in order to deal with this voting rights law. Now, when I take a critical examination of this whole situation with Major League Baseball and the All-Star Game moving from Colorado to Atlanta, I see the biggest losers being all of those Black constituents in Atlanta. Because after this COVID-19 pandemic has ravaged most of the Black-owned businesses in this predominantly Black city, it is Black Americans who are going to be the big losers as a result of this whole, as I see it, tug of war as related to identity politics and cancel culture. Because the whole thing about this whole issue with Major League Baseball and the All-Star Game, this is another attempt by both the left and the right to try to manipulate people and try to push their narratives as the reason for moving this All-Star Game from Atlanta to Colorado. And the people who are hurt the most, ironically, are Black people, especially the Black-owned businesses in Atlanta, who would have gotten $100 million in travel and tourism money from the All-Star Game coming to Atlanta, money that was desperately needed for all of those Black-owned businesses that brothers and sisters were running that were closed and lost a lot of revenue due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So the people who were hurt the most in this whole game of identity politics and virtue signaling were the very same Black people who, ironically, many were saying were going to be harmed by this whole voting rights law. And this protest for fighting this voting rights law was ironically going to hurt these Black people economically, because this All-Star Game meant a lot to the predominantly Black city of Atlanta, and all of those Black people in those Black-owned businesses, they are not going to be able to get any of that travel and tourism money in this whole protest over racism. But the great irony is that in this protest over racism, we're taking an All-Star Game out of a predominantly Black city and hurting Black people even more, and taking this whole All-Star Game to the state of Colorado, a state that is over 70% white and has a history of racism and white supremacy, because one of my viewers sent me several articles detailing how Black people have encountered racism in the state of Colorado, and even worse, your Colorado has the same similar voting rights laws that your Georgia just established. The only difference between your Atlanta and your Colorado is that one state is run by a Republican and the other is run by a Democrat. But what's really sad is that no, because everybody's so caught up in their personal politics, their identity politics, and their social justice narratives, they have forgotten we, the black people, and they have forgotten that we, the black people, are the ones who are going to suffer the most, and we, the black people, who again represent or are supposed to be represented by people like your Stacey Abrams, and they're not getting the support. And even worse, your people like your Al Sharptons and your LeBron Jameses, they're sitting up here going to march, wanting to march, protest, and boycott. And the thing that they're doing is actually hurting many black business owners and black entrepreneurs. And it's all being done in the name of politics that takes tangible resources out of the hands of black people. So when I look at this whole situation, it is going to again have a devastating effect on all of those brothers and sisters who have black owned businesses in Atlanta, people who have suffered over the whole course of a year thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic, having their businesses on lockdown and having their revenues decreased as a result of all of the unemployment going on. All of those black people are going to miss out on an opportunity to be able to try to recoup some of those losses with this major tourism event, with all taken away, all because people got caught up in their feelings about one political party over the other and putting their own personal politics ahead of the needs of we, the black people, in this chocolate city. And that is the sad part about this whole Major League Baseball issue, is that people are getting lost because people are caught up in their emotions about politics and not thinking about the needs of we the people and thinking about the overall needs of black people who voted for certain for certain change, and instead of them getting change that brings tangibles to them, you have people like Stacey Abrams taking away their access to tangible resources like the All-Star game, and then you have outsiders and interlopers like LeBron James and other people pushing to boycott that would take away their access to trying to get their economic house in order. And I'd have to say again, all of this politics again should not have anything to do with baseball or any sort of business. You should leave your politics at the door. Leave your feelings about politics at the door. I mean, people go to an all-star game to see the players, and it's not a place, as I see it, for politics. And what's really sad is we have all of these people bringing their politics into things that they have no place in, and they're doing harm to we the people. I mean, it's almost like a gang war out here. This gang is against this gang disagrees with this gang, and they're having a gang war. But the whole thing is, just like these gang wars, what happens is it's the average everyday man on the street who becomes an innocent bystander who gets caught in the crossfire, and the people who are getting caught in the middle of this crossfire are all of these black-owned businesses who desperately need this money and could have reaped a lot of benefits, and the people being hurt are black people. And it's sadly, if you look at one of the sides, it's black people inflicting the harm on other black people, according to some reports, and it's other white folks, again, who in Major League Baseball were not thinking about the long-term damage this was doing. And ironically, this attempt to protest what some believe to be a racist law is actually perpetrating racism on black people. And that's the whole sad thing about this whole Major League Baseball moving the All-Star game from Atlanta to your Colorado, is that it took dollars out of the black community and took it out of the white community, and showed us how these race hustlers hustled black people out of a payday. Now, if you want to see me make more classic videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my positive African American fiction, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords, the iBook Store, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many black women can't find a husband and why 70% of black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today.